I want to talk a little bit, or have you reflect on where we are at this point moving forward. It's like we've been really engaged in this issue for the past several years, so it's like we're running a marathon, but we're now in the last home stretch. And Matt, you described that we can really anticipate the Republicans will pass a highly gerrymandered map. Tony Evers will veto that map. We've got a nonpartisan commission taking hearings, and I'm assuming they'll be coming up with an alternative map. How will all that play out? And it's really in the courts by the end of the summer and throughout the fall. What's the game plan there, and what's the likely scenario, and how can we make that happen?
So the
Matt and Robyn would be great to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, the strategy from the Wisconsin Fair Maps Coalition that we're a big part of is to uh, really flash as much attention, as much spotlight as possible on the process to make sure that the process is an open process, that the legislature, when they get the census data, if they start to rig the maps, that we'll be blowing the whistle on them right away. We'll be rallying people to contact their legislators to vote against a rigged map and vote for the legislation that Senator Smith and Representative Andraka and Representative Vining is going to co-sponsor for changing our law. And I'm an optimist, but I'm a realist. I mean, I don't expect Robyn Vining to come in with any map that isn't a rigged map. And so
Robyn Voss, not Robyn Vining.
Yeah, Robyn Voss is going to rig the maps. Sorry about that. Voss is going to rig the maps. And so then there's going to be a race to the courts. And I think all the work that has been done with the People's Maps Commission and all the work that's been done in the legislature by Robyn Vining and Dave Hansen and Jeff Smith will be, and all the polling data and all these resolutions and referendums, that'll be on the minds of whichever court is looking at this issue. And then we'll have the People's Maps Commission, which are going to have fairer maps to juxtapose with the maps that the speaker comes forward with. And so I think we'll have editorial writers all over the state at our biggest papers talking about how this isn't the way democracy should work. There'll be a lot of pressure on whoever's drawing the maps by whichever judge is drawing them to make sure that the maps, pass the smell test. And that's why I think we're going to have better maps this time around. But I don't think 2021 here is the end of the story. I mean, I'm not going to rest, and I'm sure Representative Vining's not going to rest until we actually change this law or amend the Constitution of Wisconsin to make sure we have independent, nonpartisan redistricting. I know Representative Diane Hesselbein introduced a bill along those lines last time around. So this is a fight. It's not going to end in this year. We should get better maps this year than we did in 2021, but we're going to keep fighting after 2021.
What's your sense on if the maps will get tied up in court through 2020, the 2022 election?
Oh, I don't think so. I think the drop dead deadline really is going to be April of 2022 when people who are running for re-election like you are going to have to file your papers in the primaries. So what I expect to happen is the Census Bureau is going to drop the data by about July 31st to the legislators. They're going to draw the maps in a hurry. There'll be a sprint to the courts maybe by right after Labor Day. And then a judge is going to come down with maps, but before April of next year. And then we'll have some maps that we can look at and see how bad they are or how much fairer they are. And we'll have to operate with those maps for another 9 years or 8 years until we pass this law here in Wisconsin. But I'm confident we are going to pass that law at some point in the next 2 to 4 years. That's my horizon.
So with the maps being what is generally accepted as Wisconsin's maps being the most gerrymandered in the country at this point, if not, we are right at the top. I don't think that there's a scenario where the maps are worse for Republicans than they are right now. Or I guess I should say, it doesn't get better for Republicans than they have right now. It's only going to get worse for them. They're only going to lose seats because they don't represent the state on a whole. And we're just not a state that's that extreme. We know that from our statewide elections and what those districts look like. And so I will say, the Democrats, we are gearing up for what we anticipate to be the biggest fight since Act 10. And so we are taking deep breaths and just getting ready. And I can tell you that through the whole last campaign season, I had only won by 130 some votes the campaign before, and this campaign, I was just like fighting with everything I had, with the thought of like I have to be there to protect the governor's veto on maps. Like I have to get back there to protect the maps. And that was the feeling, because that's how you protect justice and equality and the voice of the people. And so we fought through the campaign season like that, and now we are essentially just knowing that we could have the biggest battle since Act 10 ahead of us, and we are all in and ready to fight, because the will of the people is the law of the land. That's what it says on the governor's conference ceiling. And I believe that we are a country where the voice of the people matters. And so we are going to be ready to fight.
Solidarity, sister.
What's that?
Repeat
Oh,
yourself,
solidarity.
George.
Yes.
George Stone said solidarity, sister.
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, we've got a